You sat down to do nothing. That was the plan. But within 60 seconds, your brain handed you a list. A mental to-do list, unprompted, uninvited, completely automatic. And no matter how many times you try to set it down, it finds its way back into your hands. This feels like a personal failure, like you are broken or anxious or simply bad at being still. But the real answer is far stranger. Your brain is not malfunctioning when it refuses to rest. It is doing exactly what it was built to do, and understanding why changes everything about how you relate to your own mind. Here is what is actually happening inside your skull. Your brain has a default mode. Not sleep, not focus, but a third state that researchers once thought was meaningless background noise. In 2001, neurologist Marcus Raichle at Washington University discovered something that upended everything. When subjects were given nothing to do, a specific network of brain regions lit up with intense activity. He called it the default mode network, and it has been running inside your head your entire life, every time you try to stop. The default mode network does not rest when you rest. It activates. It reviews your social relationships. It rehearses future conversations. It processes unresolved emotional experiences. It scans your environment for threats you may have missed. It is, in the most literal sense, your brain doing its most important work precisely when you thought you were doing nothing. But why? Why would evolution build a system that punishes stillness? Think about your ancestors, not your grandparents. Go back further, much further. Picture a human being standing in an open landscape 100,000 years ago. The moment that person stopped moving, stopped scanning, stopped planning, was the moment something with teeth could close the gap. Stillness was a liability. A resting mind was a vulnerable mind. Your nervous system learned that lesson so deeply it encoded it into the architecture of your brain itself. Neuroscientist Mary Helen Immordino-Yang at the University of Southern California spent years studying what the default mode network actually produces during its activation. Her findings were startling. The network is not generating anxiety randomly. It is constructing your sense of self. It is building and rebuilding your identity, your moral framework, your emotional memories. Every time you go quiet, your brain seizes the opportunity to do the maintenance work it cannot do while you are focused on something external. So the restlessness you feel, that is not weakness. That is your brain trying to keep you whole. But here is the counterintuitive twist. The default mode network and the focus network cannot run at the same time. They are rivals. When one is active, the other goes dim. This means that every time you force yourself to concentrate on a screen, a task, a conversation, your brain's self-maintenance system goes completely offline. And the longer you stay in forced focus, the more pressure builds behind the dam. When you finally sit down and try to rest, that pressure releases all at once. The default mode network floods back online with everything it has been waiting to process. Every unread emotional signal, every unresolved question, every relationship you have not had time to think through. It hits you the moment you stop. And you call it anxiety. Your brain calls it catching up. Psychologist Matthew Killingsworth tracked over 15,000 people in real time using a smartphone app, sampling their thoughts, activities, and happiness throughout the day. His conclusion, published in the journal Science, was clear. A wandering mind is an unhappy mind, at least at first. But the research also showed something else. People whose minds wandered toward pleasant thoughts reported higher well-being over time. The pain is not in the wandering. The pain is in fighting it. Your brain is not your enemy when it refuses to quiet down. It is trying to tell you something. It is asking for the one thing modern life almost never gives it: unstructured time. Not sleep, not entertainment, not scrolling. Just open, empty, undemanded time where the default mode network can do what it evolved to do. The ancient humans who sat by the fire after sunset were not being lazy. They were not wasting time. They were doing something the modern world has made nearly impossible. They were letting their brains finish the sentence. You sat down to do nothing, and your brain handed you a list. Now you know what that list actually is. It is not proof that something is wrong with you. It is your mind, mid-sentence, trying to finish the thought it has been building your whole life. If this earned a few minutes of your attention, imagine what the next video might do. subscribe, and become part of a community.